Power. That's what they all crave. From Gotham's criminals to the villains I've fought, they've all wanted power. They think strength makes them untouchable, but they don't understand. True power comes from control, from knowing when not to strike. But what happens when the man who has mastered control is given the one thing he's never had? What if the Bat had superpowers? Would he still be the protector Gotham needs? Or would he become the very thing he's sworn to fight? Tonight we go into a world where Batman is more than just a man. A world where strength, speed, telepathy, and flight aren't just tools, they're weapons. The question is, can Gotham survive that kind of power? Batman, a symbol, a legend, a man who carved fear into the heart of Gotham's criminals without the advantage of superhuman abilities. No powers, no shortcuts, just willpower, skill, and determination. But what happens when you take a man who's already the best at what he does and give him powers that would make the gods tremble? Gotham is built on shadows, on secrets, on the delicate balance between order and chaos. Batman walks that line every night. But what happens when the balance tips? When the one man who has fought without power suddenly becomes more than human? That's what we're exploring today. What would happen if Batman had superpowers? Let's start with super strength. Picture it. The Dark Knight, a man already skilled in combat, now with the ability to lift cars, punch through steel walls, and throw his enemies like rag dolls. The criminals of Gotham wouldn't stand a chance. Even the most dangerous villains like Bane or Killer Croc would be reduced to nothing more than targets for his overwhelming power. Imagine Batman facing down Bane, the man who once broke him. This time, Bane's strength is meaningless. One punch, and it's over. One strike, and Gotham's most feared villain is on the ground, defeated without a struggle. But there's a darker side to this. With that kind of power, control becomes the greatest challenge. Every fight would be a test of restraint. One wrong move, one punch too strong, and a life is ended. Batman has always fought with precision, knowing exactly how much force to use to stop a criminal without crossing the line into lethal force. But with super strength, that line would blur. Every punch could be deadly. Every confrontation could end in destruction. Batman's strength has never come from his muscles. It's come from his mind. His ability to stay calm, to calculate, to outthink his enemies. Super strength would change that. It would make him a brute, a force of nature. But would it make him better? Or would it make him reckless? A man with too much power is a man who can lose sight of what truly matters. And in Gotham, that's a dangerous thing. Gotham doesn't need a god. It needs a protector. And with super strength, Batman would be more god than man. He'd be a force that no one, not even Gotham, could control. Now let's talk about speed. Super speed. Imagine the Dark Knight moving faster than the eye can see. No criminal could ever outrun him. No crime would go unsolved, because he'd be there before it even happened. The streets of Gotham would be free of crime in a matter of days, with every villain caught before they even had a chance to act. But here's the thing. Batman's greatest strength has never been about how fast he moves, but how carefully he thinks. Every step, every strike, every decision is made with precision and patience. Super speed would change that. It would make everything too easy. Batman would no longer need to wait, to plan, to strategize. He could rush in, solve the problem, and be gone before anyone even knew he was there. But with that speed, there's a cost. Super speed means thinking fast, acting fast. And in the rush, things get missed. Details slip by. And Batman is the world's greatest detective because he never misses a detail. Every clue, every hint, every connection is part of a larger puzzle. If he moves too fast, he might solve the small problem, but miss the bigger picture. There's also the psychological aspect. Criminals in Gotham fear Batman because they know he's always there, lurking in the shadows, watching. They fear the idea of him as much as the man himself. But if Batman is nothing more than a blur, that fear changes. He's no longer the specter in the dark, the ghost they can't escape. He's just fast. And fear is not about speed. It's about presence. It's about the looming dread that you never know when he's watching, but you know he's always there. Super speed would make Batman a great weapon, but it would take away the very thing that makes him terrifying. The criminals would still be scared, sure, but it wouldn't be the same. And for Batman, fear is his greatest tool. Now let's dig deeper. Telepathy. Imagine Batman with the ability to read minds, to dive into the thoughts of every criminal, every villain, every person in Gotham. He wouldn't need to interrogate, wouldn't need to investigate. Every truth, every secret would be his to uncover in an instant. The world's greatest detective would become unstoppable. Every lie would be exposed, every criminal plot foiled before it even began. The Riddler's puzzles would be pointless, the Joker's schemes meaningless. He would know everything, see everything, but telepathy comes with a price. It's not just about knowing the truth, it's about controlling it. Batman's entire mission is built on justice, on giving people the chance to choose right from wrong. But with telepathy, that choice disappears. He would become more than just a protector. He would become a judge, jury, and executioner all rolled into one. He wouldn't just be stopping crime, he'd be controlling it, controlling people's very thoughts. And then there's the moral question. How far is too far? Would he invade the minds of innocent people? Would he read the thoughts of his allies, his enemies, his friends? Telepathy would give him power, yes, but it would also blur the lines between justice and control. Batman has always fought for the freedom of Gotham, but with telepathy, he'd be taking that freedom away. He'd be controlling the very thing he's sworn to protect. Batman's greatest weapon has always been his mind, but telepathy would turn that weapon into something dangerous. It's one thing to fight crime, it's another to control it. And Gotham doesn't need a puppet master, it needs a hero. Finally, let's give Batman the ability to fly. No more grappling hooks, no more rooftops, just pure, unbridled flight. He could soar over Gotham, watching every corner, every street, patrolling from above like a guardian angel. Flying would give Batman a level of mobility that no criminal could match. He could respond to crime faster, travel across the city in seconds, and be wherever he was needed at any time. It would make him the ultimate protector, always watching, always ready to strike. But flight comes with its own challenges. Batman has always been a man of the streets. He walks among the people, feels the pulse of the city. He understands Gotham because he's part of it. Flying above it, he'd lose that connection. He'd become something separate from the city, something above it. He wouldn't be a man of the people anymore. He'd be a god, looking down on them from the sky. And then, there's the question of fear. Batman's presence in the shadows is what keeps Gotham's criminals in check. They fear the unknown, the idea that he could be lurking anywhere, ready to strike. But if Batman is always visible, always in the sky, that fear disappears. He'd be too predictable, too easy to track. Flight would make Batman more powerful, but it would take away the very thing that makes him Batman, his connection to the streets, to the shadows, to the people. Gotham needs a protector, not a god. In the end, Batman doesn't need superpowers. He's not a hero because of what he can do. He's a hero because of who he is. He fights for Gotham, not because he's stronger, faster, or more powerful than the criminals he faces, but because he chooses to. His greatest strength has never been his physical abilities. It's been his will, his mind, his refusal to give in, even when the odds are against him. Superpowers would make Batman a god, but Gotham doesn't need a god. It needs a symbol. It needs a man who proves that anyone, no matter how broken, can make a difference. Super strength, super speed, telepathy, flight, they would all make Batman more powerful, but they would also take away the very thing that makes him Batman. Because in the end, the greatest power Batman has isn't something you can see. It's something you feel. It's the power of a man who refuses to give up, who refuses to back down, who fights not because he has to, but because he chooses to. And that's the power that Gotham needs.